delivery for you. Trim?
In health news, a new study reveals about 140 million Americans, that's more than half the nation's adults, could be considered candidates for weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wgovy. That's according to JAMA Cardiology. So joining me now is Dr. Sonal Harder with Dignity Health Medical Group, and she's also a board-certified obesity medicine specialist. Sonal, what struck me first out of the gate was the fact that more than half of Americans are obese, which goes to this study that, more and more are eligible, but that was really troubling.
Yeah, and so, the statistics are scary. About 70% people in the United States are either overweight or obese. And that's why 70% population is eligible for these medications. Right. And so that's why we are having conversations about this medication, because for once we have found something that is treating obesity in multiple ways, but in a, in a right way.
What's interesting is the fact that this number, again, about, 140 million, that far exceeds who is currently prescribed. That's about 82 million. So do you think that with these alarming numbers, would that hopefully, maybe these drug companies who are asking for so much for these medications, right, maybe they'll rethink, some of these costs?
Absolutely. There is a lot of conversation about insurance coverage for these medications. We don't have that yet, but commercial insurance is actually looking at making these medications more covered for patients who need it for obesity and diabetes mellitus. Currently, we do have good insurance coverage for diabetes mellitus, but of course, with obesity, it's still a struggle. So that is something that has to be considered given what we are dealing with in terms of statistics.
Yeah, it's really alarming. So for those who do need it, who are eligible, how could they go about possibly getting some coverage for it?
Absolutely. So number one is actually following up with your doctor, your family medicine doctor, obesity doctor, endocrinologist. You have to fulfill criteria. These medications are fantastic for obesity and diabetes mellitus, but they do have a criteria. These are not for everyone. Like any other medication, they also have side effects. So weighing the risks and the benefits is very, very important. So going to a doctor, having a conversation about what are the benefits for their specific health conditions. We know that these medications also have heart benefit, and so there are certain heart patients that also qualify for these medications. But again, going to a board-certified physician for that conversation.
Absolutely. Okay, speaking of the side effects, so this is recently new. There's also a new study from JAMA Psychiatry that Ozempic and Wgovy may help people cut back on drinking.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
So there was a study in Sweden, and they looked at patients, over 200,000 patients who actually had alcohol use disorder. Now, these patients were also diagnosed with obesity or diabetes, and some of them were on these GLP medications, which is like Ozempic.
Right.
And what they noticed was patients who were actually on these medications had lower hospitalizations compared to people who were taking other medications for their alcohol use disorder. And what we think, Tram, is going on here is these medications, we know, number one, they work on satiety, meaning, you feel full. Right. You don't desire food at the same amounts or alcohol in the same amounts. The other benefit, the other theory we know about these medications is the dopamine reward system. Right. They blunt that dopamine response to some of these triggers like food or alcohol.
That's more mental.
Correct.
Yeah.
So basically, they're helping us feel full. They're reducing our cravings and appetite, but they're also reducing that reward feelings that you have with alcohol or food. And I have seen this in my practice as well, where people are coming back and saying, I'm drinking less and I don't have the same desire to drink alcohol, which again helps with lowering weight and reducing obesity, also helps with diabetes mellitus and heart disease.
Yeah.
So it has that trickle effect, although it's not FDA approved, and we do need better studies to establish this theory.
Right, because it's still so early.
Right.
I mean, I feel like new studies are coming out by the week, by the month about
Correct.
these, hey, new side effects and new this. But again, you just don't know.
And just to back that up, we do have animal studies that have shown that these medications help in addiction. So in gambling, there are some ongoing studies on alcohol as well. Wow. So I think this is on the horizon. Yeah. We just have to wait for the right studies to come out.
Okay, well, we'll still keep talking about it. I know you'll be back again with more. Thank you so much, Sonal. All right, we're going to toss it over to Troy.